Let's get started.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to turn the time over to Brock here in a minute, and then we're going to do the hot cold thing, and we'll kind of let them guide the rest of the day. So we appreciate these guys being here with us. I actually kind of met Brock through Cam. So Cam and Brock are business partners, and Cam is married to my wife's cousin. So we see each other a couple times a year at family parties, and I've known about their coaching business for a while and admired them from afar, and I'm really excited to have you guys with us, and we appreciate the workout this morning. That was a blast, and we're excited to hear from you today. I had Brock on my podcast, I don't know, a couple months ago, and when he told some stories on that podcast, and I was just like, man, I got to get this guy in front of my reps and our leaders. He's inspiring, and someone that walks the walk, that definitely doesn't just talk the talk, right? Like, he's coaching other people how to do hard things, and hopefully he talks about some of these stories today, but this dude has run 100-mile races. There was a contest that he told me about that he was a part of called Last Man Standing? So the contest kind of went something like this, and I'll let him talk more about it, but you run 5 miles. Everyone's on a treadmill, and everyone in the room has a screw loose because they're crazy enough to sign up for this contest. But there's this contest. Everyone's in a room. There's a bunch of treadmills. You have to run 5 miles in an hour. Let's say you get it done in 40 minutes. Then you have 20 minutes to rest, and then you have to run 5 miles again the next hour. And how many miles did you end up running in that race?
85.
85 miles. Just a resilient, tough dude that practices what he preaches. And there's actually a story. I'm going to ask him to share that as part of your thing if you don't have this worked in. I want you to share the story of what happened with your wife.
I'll share it.
Story. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Was it 5 miles? Was that the
Yeah, so it's 5 miles every hour on the hour till you're the last man standing.
17 hours?
I was 17 hours, yeah.
Beast. So there's obviously so many parallels between his world and ours, right? Like, we in the summertime, there are so many things that we can't control that come our way. It's day in and day out. Like, if you've done a summer between the weather and competition and just all the things that can go wrong, it's a list of 1,000 things, right? And honestly, those that are the top performers that do incredible in any market, any environment, are the ones that figure out the thing between their ears, right? They figure out the mental game. And so there's a short list of people that I think are just like so dang qualified to go speak to this stuff, and he's definitely on it. So let's give a big hand for Brock.
Thank you, guys. I love door-to-door. Just so you know, I spent 5 years in the industry. I knocked doors, did pest control. And one of the reasons I love it is because when you do pest control, you take somebody who almost despises you, and you're starting from almost negative ground, and then you're creating this vision and this transformation in them to where they're actually giving you their credit card by the end of it. And what they're teaching you today is really cool. It's what I like to call technical skills, right? You're learning how to sell. You're learning the words, the pitch. But something that always frustrated me in the door-to-door space is every day I would go out there, and hard work wasn't an issue, right? Like, I could knock all the doors, I would run, I would do everything possible. And then there was me that walked away with a decent summer, but then there was guys that were saying the exact same words, knocking probably less doors, and walking away with way more money. You guys ever been frustrated by that? And I would ask myself, why me? Why not me? I'm doing everything. I'm checking all the boxes. I'm doing everything they tell me to. Why doesn't it work out? You guys ever thought that before? And so technical skills are important, okay? But what I'm about to teach you is an obsession that I had from that question, and it's what I like to call critical skills. Critical skills is the emotional value. When Parker says what's between your head, it's a mind and body connection that creates alignment, intentionality, and energy. So that way, when you show up on the doors, it's reflected the way you want it to be. Because the technical skills, yes, they're a vehicle, but the critical skills are what really help someone trust you. It works with the subconscious mind. It works with how you interact with your environment. And that's what we're going to go in today. So what I believe is transformation takes place from the inside out. Okay? A lot of times when we look at a transformation, we think of it as, these external events, somebody, something. Once I get the girl, once I get the money, then everything's going to be okay. Then I can have these opportunities. Then I can make these decisions, right? How many of you have thought that? And you're waiting for some day for everything to work out for you to then have permission to go do what you want. What I'm here to challenge is that you have that ability today. Because the answers aren't something outside of you, it's inside of you. Let me show you what I mean a little bit. Will you guys mind standing up and just spreading out with your arms? You don't have to move far, but just kind of stand up and we're going to do a little activity. I know you're sore, so this will be good. So I want you guys just to try to twist as far as you can, okay? And try to remember how far you twisted. Okay? All right. So now what I want you to do is slow down. I want you to close your eyes. Okay, and with your eyes closed, what I want you to do is to now start to envision yourself twisting. Okay, I want you to see yourself getting as far as you can. Now I want you to go another full 360 degrees. Another full spin, and another, all the way up until you look like Mr. Fantastic, all the way twizzled up like a Twizzler. Okay? Now when you have that vision in your mind, I want you to open your eyes and try to twist again. Okay, I see some of you guys laughing. What are you noticing? What are you noticing? Okay, were you any stronger?
No.
Did you stretch at all?
Not at all.
Okay, why do you feel like you were able to go further?
I think it was just like the mental, like my brain was telling me that I could. Because we had envisioned it together, like you had told us, like that I'm spinning around. After my brain believed that I could do it, my body was able to achieve it.
Good, love it. Okay, sit down. So what just happened there is you gave your brain a map that said, this is what I want. And once your brain has a map, it's amazing at going out and getting it. It's incredible. But if you give your brain the wrong map, inevitably you end up at the wrong destination. You know, it's interesting, in the first round, you already set limitations on yourself as this is how far I could go. But once we removed that limitation, all of a sudden possibilities came to you that weren't there before. How often do we do that with every single day of our life? We start to assign certain definitions of how things are going to go, of things we don't even know we're talking about. So today, okay, I want you to remove those definitions. I want to amplify the uniqueness that is in each and every individual here. Because I believe that all of you guys have a value that nobody else in this world can give to the world, and I want to amplify that. So I'm going to tell you guys my story. If it will let me click. Maybe I'll just do it from here. I want that one. Okay, I want you guys to guess which one's me. What? How'd you guys know? Right? So I want to tell you guys a story. I grew up with 4 older brothers. Okay? And me as the younger brother, I wanted nothing more than to keep up with them. And if that meant that they were going to get hit hard, I was going to hit hard in football at whatever it cost me. If they did it, I was too. If they were going to jump their dirt bikes off a big jump, I was going to do it. And it didn't matter how many reps. It didn't matter how many times I tried. If they were going to do it, me too. Because I always felt like there was something I needed to prove of myself. And so I spent a lot of time trying to do that. Now in football, that was one in particular. I had this brother who went D1, played at Utah State. He was always known as a fast and hard hitter. So you want to know what I said? I'm going to be fast and I'm going to be a hard hitter. And I ended up being fast and a hard hitter. But I ended up having to quit my junior year of football due to 10 plus concussions. Because I was unable to feel the shame of slowing down to learn how to actually do it. And so I just continued to hurt myself, thinking that I was following the right map. I saw that in door to door. I would knock 300 doors in a day. But I was just practicing the wrong thing lots of times. But it was because I was following the wrong map. And you want to know what that left me? It left me feeling empty. It left me feeling like I didn't have any worth. Because I was comparing myself to this image of what I needed to be rather than who I actually was. There was one story in particular in 7th grade. My mom made me go to a different middle school because she didn't love the one that was close to our home. But what that meant for me was I was leaving a lot of my friends and the people I knew. I didn't know anyone at this new school. And so I show up on the first day, and I didn't talk to anybody almost the whole day. And finally, at the end of the day, I saw some ninth graders that were a lot bigger than me walking down the hall, but I knew them from football. You know, and me, I get all excited. I'm like, hey guys, friends, like, talk to me. Friends, I'm excited. And they did. They came up to me and ended up throwing me in the trash can. And I sat there, and obviously all those insecurities started coming up. Why am I not enough? Why can't I be their friend? Why don't things work out for me? How many of you guys felt that way? Yeah, I think it's pretty common. So what I did, I get out of the trash can, and I stomp over, and I said, hey. And there's this teacher getting mad at him because she saw the whole thing. So I said, hey, those are my friends. Don't get mad at them. Because I wanted their acceptance more than my own self-worth. I wanted to feel like I belonged, more important than my own safety and my own worth as a person. And that followed me along into a lot of what I did. And so, long story short, I don't know why it keeps going forward. So, long story short, this followed me up until I was older. So this is me and Cam. This is us barely first starting Neuromastery. I had all the knowledge, right? I had just graduated in psychology, and I was so excited to be able to get going. And we start going, and obviously it was a lot harder than we thought, right? Just like the doors. Typically, you think you're going to have all this amazing Rookie of the Year, which is possible, but a lot of times you get hit in the face, and then you don't know what to do. And that happened to me. So we started, and we were about 6 months in. I said, why don't we have very many clients? Why aren't things working out for us? What's going on, right? You've heard that before. All those insecurities we often tell ourselves. And so I started to get desperate. And I started to reach out for someone or something to give me all the answers, to change what I was doing. And I ended up DMing this prominent coach here in Utah. Hey, just jump on a 15-minute call. And I DM'd him like 4 times, and he finally said yes, right? I get him on the call, and I'm like, this is my shot. This is going to change everything for me. Okay, so I get on the call. He asked me about 3 questions, and then by the end of the call, he says, Brock, quit what you're doing. Come back when you've done something meaningful. Oh, right? Why can't I figure this out? And for me, I could accept that. In that moment after the call, I was like, okay, I get it. I asked for his advice. He gave it to me. Wasn't what I wanted to hear, but it is what it is. Figure it out. But then a week later, he wrote an entire blog about me and posted it publicly. And every insecurity, I started to feel like, oh, maybe he's right. I should quit. This isn't enough. He said there's all these, fake gurus out there who think they can create a transformation, who have wives telling them, why are you a part of a program that doesn't even work, where you're 54 pounds out of weight? So what do you feel like came up for me? I decided, I was like, okay, I'm going to go figure this out before I quit, so I'm going to go do what I do best. I sat on a bike. And I said, I'm going to stay on this bike until I get some answers here. And I turned on these shaman drums. If you guys have ever heard those, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm talking about? And I said, I'm not changing the song either. I said, I'm staying here, and I'm figuring this out. And so I start pedaling. And in the beginning, it was all, well, he's not very good at what he does. He's overweight. He doesn't even have a very good program. Pure blame. Okay? How do you think I felt when I was thinking that in my head? What do you think that gave me? Anyone?
No power.
No power. Why?
You can't control him, or it's not attached to anything that you can control.
Exactly. So I'm still anxious. I'm still insecure. Okay, I'm going to stay on this bike then. I keep pedaling. So I keep pedaling. I'm on it now, probably. I'm on it for a few hours at this point, and I'm sweating. And all of a sudden, breakthrough. Well, why am I not enough? Maybe I'm just not that good. Maybe I should just tuck my tail, go get a job, and figure it out. Right? Maybe I'm just not that guy. Limitations, right? How do you feel like I felt after that? Was I still anxious? Yes or no?
Yes.
Still anxious. Okay, can't be the answer. So I keep pedaling. Okay, now I'm getting in like multiple hours, and I'm just super tired, right? Like 50 plus miles, not a biker. I'm a runner. This sucks. And all of a sudden, I just had this deep breath. And there was this moment of clarity. I said, Brock, what lesson are you unwilling to learn? Okay, I want to pause right there. I want you guys to pull out your phones. Okay, and or a notepad, something to write with. And I want to ask you guys that question. What lesson are you unwilling to learn? Because for me, where I was in that, and I'm just going to talk as you're writing, that coach, although what he said was rude, I had to separate my self-worth because there was a gold nugget in what he said. Brock, quit. That was bad advice, right? I don't need to listen to that. That was according to my own self-worth. Go do something meaningful. Gold nugget. And if you listen, you can see them everywhere. Brock, go do something meaningful. So I want you guys to write down, what lesson are you unwilling to learn? Okay, as you're writing these down, I'm going to continue with the story. So, obviously I had a decision to make, right? I got to go do something meaningful. So I thought in my head, I said, what's the coolest thing that I could possibly do? What's the coolest possible thing that I could think of? There was two ideas. One, go get a PhD. Okay, I could go do that. Or two, go run a 100-mile race. Okay? So I start looking up 100-mile races on my laptop, and I said, I'm going to figure this out. There's too much of a glare on my face. I guess it's too shiny. But so I decided, okay, I'm going to go sign up for this. I'm going to go sign up for a 100-mile race. So I start researching them, and I call my wife. You can see her back there in the back. So mind you, when this is all happening, she is about 7 months pregnant. Okay? So first baby, we don't know what we're doing. We're still figuring it out, and we're trying to grow this business. We're not making any money. And I'm calling her about a 100-mile ultra marathon, which is now going to be a part-time job, right? Just running. So I call her and I said, I found the race, okay? Canyonlands 100. I signed up for it. I spent $400 we didn't have, and we were going to go run this race. And I had 3 months to prepare, okay? So for an ultra marathon, I'd never ran 100 miles. I'd never done really anything close. Like I was marathon ready at best. But I needed to go do something meaningful. So with 3 months to prepare, I start running, okay? And I learned a lot of lessons along the way that were very powerful, okay? One of them in particular was my entire life, I was just trying to prove myself when I was playing just to not lose. I was just trying to be okay. I was just trying to be accepted. I was just trying to make sure everything's okay. One person put this in the best perspective. One time I was invited to this day where he's a men's fashion coach, which is not my world. If you know me, like I'm in shorts and a t-shirt every day and athletic clothes, and I'm going to this thing, and he says, I want you to dress up before you come. And so I was thinking about it. I go, I don't even have anything. Okay, I get there, I sit down, he's got this group, and he goes, so many people just play not to lose, right? He goes, rather than just playing to win, taking risks and putting yourself out there, he goes, I can almost guarantee you every single one of you thought more about your outfit tonight than I did. And he looked better than all of us. And I was like, you're right. I spent so much of my energy today thinking about my outfit. I spent so much of my energy my entire life thinking about how I was going to please other people, how I was going to prove myself, how I was going to get by, how I was just going to make it happen. Instead of just truly taking the risks that were going to make it happen. And that's where I started running. And I decided I need a transformation. I'm going to start playing to win. So what I did is I went and ran 400-mile weeks in a row. For those of you who kind of understand running, that's about 17 miles a day for a month. Okay? And I said, I'm going to take massive action. I'm going to do something that will create a transformation in me that I will never be the same. And that's what I did. And I want to show you guys what I mean by this, because like I said, today it's not just going to be me teaching. We are going to be interactive. Who wants to be brave? Will someone be brave and come up? We'll give you guys some merch. We got some giveaways. Yeah, there we go. We got some hands. All right, White, come here. Okay. Are you brave? No, you don't need that mic. This is a visual. All right. I got an arrow here. It's a real arrow, if you notice. There's a tip. Okay? So, I want you to break this. What you're going to do is you're going to put it right here on your neck. Okay? We're going to teach him how... Hey, we're going to teach him how to play to win. Okay? We're going to teach him how to play to win. All right? I know. Heart's pumping just a little bit. Okay? So, I'm going to stick this on my chest. Okay? You're going to put it on your note. Okay? So, now, it's real, right?
Yeah.
Okay? It's real.
It's real, guys.
Okay, so what I want you to do is before you try to break it, I want you just to take a small step forward. Just a little one. You don't have to go big. Okay? How does that feel?
It's definitely pressure. That's for sure.
Okay. So that's what playing to lose feels like. It's scary, it's prolonged, it's hard, and it's uncomfortable. And when we play to lose, yeah, we're not taking the risk, but we sit in this prolonged pain forever. It hurts, it's uncomfortable, and we don't do anything about it. And a lot of us just sit here, like I did, with an arrow to our throat, hoping that something changes or someone comes in and saves us and breaks the arrow for us. That's what playing to lose feels like. It's just a constant pressure that is slow but decays you. You guys felt that before? Is anyone relating to this? Okay. All right. Now what I want you to do is take a big step forward, as big as you can. Go big. Okay. How do you feel now?
Good.
Who's smiling? Hey, let's hear it.
One more arrow in my neck.
Okay, but what do you have now that you didn't have before?
An arrow in my neck.
No, you don't have an arrow. Guys, did you notice, when did he smile? That's instant confidence. That's instant confidence. That's how it's built. You take one step that takes maybe 2 seconds. That now transforms your entire life. It takes away the pain. And you can all of a sudden feel free and make a choice and be who you want to be. Does that make sense? All right. Hey, thank you. Pick what you want. You can get a shirt. That's a large. There's some mediums. There's a hat. All right, dude. Thank you. So, the other thing I started to learn as I went down this path is I noticed I was screaming for all these people to notice me, and I was trying to prove myself and show them that I was good enough. Okay? But I was wanting the world to hear me rather than the ones who were there, instead of just letting my own uniqueness, letting my results show for themselves. Because I did have people that were screaming for me, but I spent so much time focusing on everybody else that I lost the ones who mattered most, which is that one right there. I want to show you guys a video that is near and dear to my heart. It's nothing fancy, but it means the world to me. That's me finishing my first 50-miler all by myself. My wife was 3 days postpartum. She had a baby, that baby, 3 days before, and that's them cheering for me as I finished up. Guys, there's people screaming for you, but we're spending so much time worrying about other people rather than just playing to win and going after what we want. Because there are people there to cheer you on, and you don't need the crowds, you don't need the people, just focus and intentionality. So, here's me on the race. I ended up finishing. I did it in 24 hours. I ended up taking 8th place. Guys, as you take chances on yourself, and I don't say that to brag, but it's simply because once you put yourself in the arena to start to play the game, all of a sudden the momentum comes, even on things that seem impossible or so far off. I was able to finish the race, and it was mission accomplished. And I was able to have this experience with my brothers, with my wife. That's her, that's our baby. He was 3 weeks old. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had, and that's me crossing the finish line. Here's one thing. Anyone fathers in here? Parents? Got a couple? Few? Married? Friends? Guys, what you're doing on the doors, if the hardest thing you do is knock a door, you miss the point. The door should not be the hardest thing of your day. Everything that you learn out there on the doors and that development that takes place needs to come back to those you love. Because as you do that, you build a community. It creates a ripple effect. It's about impact. Like, to me, it's not about getting to the mountaintop. We actually just had a meeting this week with Iron Cowboy, and we were sitting down with him at a dinner, and he says to us, he goes, it's not about getting to the mountaintop, Brock. It's about who you bring with you. Who are you bringing with you? Are you doing this just for you so you can have a sick car? Or are you bringing a tribe? You guys are the leaders. You guys are bringing your team. And that's the most important part, is the transformation that's going to take place in them. And then as I did this, I started really wanting to develop myself. And the belief is what makes the change. Not necessarily something outside of us. It was just a belief in myself, because after I finished that race, right, I had some of the most insane experiences, and I'm going to play this video for you. This is what happened. So if you notice, all those races happened within about a year. We ran marathons, we did Ironmans, we did Hyroxes. I wanted it all, because I wanted to see what I was made of, and I started to believe in myself. And you want to know the shift that I asked? There was a specific question. Because my entire life I was trying to act as if I was the guy. I was trying to act as if I could hit hard, as if I could jump my dirt bike, as if I was the good husband, as if I was the boyfriend, right? I just tried to make it to where everything was okay and tried to act as if I was that person. But in reality, I was very, insecure with myself. But what happened is, as I started to believe, the question changed. What if I was the guy? What if I did do exactly what I wanted? What would that look like? What if I was the guy? I started to go run the races. I started to go do the things that I thought was incredible. And that then built the confidence. So I wanted to ask you guys that question. What if? What if you truly had everything at your disposal now and you just started? What would change? What if you stopped waiting for someday and started asking yourself today? So if you notice, the last video was me on that treadmill. So as I was going through these challenges, obviously there was highs, there was lows, and everything in between. On that race in particular, that treadmill race, it was probably the hardest one I've ever done. I wasn't necessarily ultra training at the time. I just decided I was going to sign up. He messaged me about a month before, and I was like, sure. So I'm on the treadmill, and I make it to about mile 70. And at that point, I was completely exhausted, because one thing you don't know about the treadmill is, as you're running, when you're on the trails, you have some variation, right? You're using different muscles, you're going up, you're going down, and you're rotating. But on a treadmill, it's the same muscles in the same place. You're hitting in the same, the whole time, because it's the exact speed. And so it just destroys your body. And as I was running, I hit about mile 70, and I looked at my team, and specifically my wife. And I said, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I have any more in me. And she says, that's fine. She goes, if you don't have any more in you, that's fine. She says, but you don't die in the chair. Because I was on one of those breaks, and we had about 5 minutes, and she says, you don't die in the chair. You go till you can't go. So often we quit because it's emotional. So often we quit because we believe that we can't. We haven't set the right roadmap. I went another 15 miles. Blisters will heal. Quitting lasts forever. When you're out on the doors, when you're going through a hard time, it's easy to get emotional about it. What you were experiencing out there, when your body started to hurt and you wanted to quit, that's emotion playing in. That is not physical reality. And we quit because of the emotion. And so I made it another 15 miles running on that treadmill, all because my wife believed in me that I could go further. And I had to believe it myself. And that's what happens. These are my feet after one of these races. I had what's called rhabdo. I don't know if you can notice, but my shin's bruised from the inside out. It wasn't something that I hit them on. And but all of that's healed. And if I was sitting there on one of those races, there was a Hurt 100. We were out in Hawaii, and I wanted to quit after 20 miles. But I remember finishing, sitting in the water, and the water was just rushing over my body. And I said, had I quit on that loop 1, I'd have all the pain of the race. I'd have all the pain. But I would know that I quit. And none of the glory of finishing and the pride and the confidence and the blessings that come from finishing what you start. You guys have these moments every single day. Don't die in the chair. So, then comes this part. So, I don't know if you guys heard me this morning, but a lot of times growth doesn't speak to us the way we want. Like, how do you guys feel like growth speaks to you? How do you feel like it speaks to you? Yeah, we know that, right? But often when we do something, we're like, oh, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so easy. It's going to just be great. And that's great if it is. I'm not taking that away from you, right? If it feels great, awesome. But if it doesn't, listen. There was one day when I was training for my Ironman, I got out on my bike and I was going to do it was actually supposed to be like a 50-mile ride, but I had only made it in about 8 and my brain was just chirping at me. Like, you need to stop. This is too hard, too much volume. You can't do this, right? All the stuff that you just hear, and it just wouldn't shut up the whole ride. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go sit on this chair and I'm going to figure this out. So I sit in the chair, take a deep breath, and then I heard this voice again. It said, Brock, this is the moment you grow. Because I created a relationship with the pain. It wasn't a bad thing. It was something transforming me and molding me and growing me rather than something to be eliminated. Often we think of pain and we want to run, we want to hide, we want to move rather than learn and grow and develop. All these opportunities we face every single day, but as we lean into them, instead of trying to fight them, right? I could tell me those thoughts that I don't want them there. But the thing is, as I go into the thought and I start to absolve myself, then it starts to transform. And that's where if you can learn that, it really makes a difference. And then what happens is, after 4 days after my Ironman, have you guys ever heard of like post-race depression? You guys ever heard of that before? When you do something big, this monumental thing, girls know it, it's postpartum depression, right? A little bit different, but there's this buildup. You're so excited to have a baby, and then all of a sudden there's this big drop down. A ton of neuroscience behind it, but it's your dopamine. It goes way below baseline, and it's hard to get back up. So I'm sitting there after my Ironman, a little bit depressed, feeling sad for myself. I was like, I don't have anything. What am I going to do? So at the beginning of the year, I'd promised my wife, I said, hey, Kelsey, like, if we work really hard this year, I'm going to take you to Hawaii. And she goes, yes, because my wife loves a good beach, right? And we worked really hard that year. We did. But we were driving back from my Ironman, and I look at her and I said, hon, I don't think we're going to be able to go. I don't know if this Ironman's going to be I don't know if we can afford it. I got all this stuff going on. I want to work. I got to build. You know, we're just busy. All the excuses you could ever make as a father, right? And, 4 days after my Ironman, it was funny. I signed up for this race called the Hurt 100. It's super tough to get into. It sells out every year. It's in the book. David Goggins ran it. But it's a big race, super, super popular. And I didn't think I'd get in. I was like, oh, maybe in a few years, because as you put in, the likelihood goes up. So 4 days after my Ironman, I get this email. Brock, you've been accepted into the Hurt 100, and you have 2.5 months to prepare. I was like, oh boy. And for those of you who know this race, like, you're basically climbing the height of Everest in elevation through mud and through roots and through everything. And guess who got a call? My wife. I call her and say, hey, hon, another 100, let's go. And she's like, I thought we couldn't go to Hawaii. I thought we didn't have the money and all this stuff. And I was like, well, we're going. Okay, now we've increased the price. We've increased the training. My time commitment's now even worse. But how was I able to make it work? We ran the race. What shifted? What do you think? Why was I able to make it work now when I wasn't before? Bingo. Purpose. the reward was high enough for me to want to create the transformation. And I knew there was something in it for me and my family, and everyone would win. So we show up. We go to the Hurt 100. Okay, I get out there on the race. And this is like my first big race. Like, there was professionals there, and I'm standing there just this like guy. I ran 100, and I obliterated my body, and I'm stoked, right? So the race, I drink 200 milligrams caffeine, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just jazzed up, right? And I look at the guys next to me, and there's these pros, and they just take off right out the gate. And there's this big climb, like literally within the first 0.1 mile. It's just like, boom, up a mountain, okay? It looked like this. Like, if you guys see the routes, like, this is what we were on the whole time. Like, that wasn't just a piece of the trail. That's the whole trail. You couldn't get in a cadence. But these pros, they just got ankles of steel, so they go. I'm like, me too. So I'm keeping up with these guys for the first loop. I ended up finishing it in 4.5 hours, okay? But there was a big problem. I finished that loop with 4 rolled ankles. I finished the loop getting lost, and my body couldn't go anymore. I had 4 more loops. I had 80 more miles. I had a big hill to climb. And I'm looking at this, and I was like, okay, I got a problem solved. So I take off on the next loop, and I'm hiking the hill this time. I'm like, I'm not keeping up with those guys. So I start hiking because I could run really well on the uphill, but the downhill hurt a lot, okay? And I started asking myself, and, you know, I call them terrorists in my brain, because if they don't have my best interest, then I don't want to listen to them, right? If you're not focused on my goal, which is to finish the race, then you don't belong. And I started to quiet the noise, and I realized that I was running someone else's race. I got back into comparison. I got back into trying to prove myself. I got back into trying to focus on everyone but me. And what that did is I ended up hurt, damaged, and very tired. Have you guys felt that experience before? You guys noticing a common loop in my life? Yeah. I started to run my own race. I started to hike the uphills. I started to run or walk on the downhills. And I ended up passing a lot of those people who were in front of me, because they all fell off the wagon running someone else's race. And I was able to finish in the top 20. And it was something that I didn't see coming, because I felt like I was doing less. I felt like I wasn't performing like everybody else. I felt like I wasn't as hot. But in all reality, as I started to focus on me, a transformation took place. I want to show you guys what I mean by this. I need another helper. Who can help me out? Ready to break an arrow? No. Okay. All right. Can you jump high?
I don't know about after that morning.
Okay. I want you to show everyone how high you can jump. Just go as high as you possibly can.
Get like a little step.
You can do a step if you want. Just go really high. Okay. Do you guys see how high you went? About here, you say?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got a really big challenge for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want you to clear my stick. Woo! Let's hear it for him. Okay, I got a question for you.
Why not jump as high as I did the first time?
Yeah.
Saw it coming. As soon as I jumped, I said, "Ow, you got me."
Because who set your standard?
You set my standard.
Why'd you let me?
That's a good question. I think that's the lesson.
Thank you. Yeah, you can grab a shirt. Hey, let's hear it for him. Or you can grab a supplement. So guys, how often are we letting the people around us set our standards? I let my brothers, I let the coach, I let everybody tell me who I was. What I wanted was, I'm going to go set my own standard. I'm going to go be me. And what I did is what I call, running your own race. Doing the best with the knowledge and abilities that you have available, which means jumping as high as you can every single time, regardless of how high you can jump. For those of you knocking doors, don't compare yourself to somebody else out there. Learn from them, but also understand that there's a development taking place. And although you may not be selling as many as them in the beginning, if you run your race and you jump as high as you can, eventually you will get there. And that means like out there, right? Where you're sitting there and you're tired and your emotions start getting into place. You realized what your best was and where that panic was and how much further you could really go. Run your race. I call that perfection. Perfection is a very worldly term in the way we define it as society, right? It's all based on someone else. Like, who's to say what's perfect, right? It's what somebody else told you was perfect. And that might be their perfect, but is that yours? I would believe that you're perfect way better. Your perfect's better than mine. And that's the beauty of it. Because then what's going to happen is you're going to go out on the doors, okay? After this keynote, after we're talking today, after this workout, after everything that we're doing, you're going to go back to the same conditions you were in before. If you don't learn something, learning means same conditions, new behavior. Go be different. Don't let yourself fall by the wayside and just continue looping your life and having to go through pain to get to create transformation. You can create transformation without the pain just simply by learning and being different every single time you jump. Okay? And then what I call intelligence is rate of learning. How long is it going to take you to learn the skill? Are we going to continue to get hit in the face? Right? Like if I punch you in the face, how quickly are you going to move out of the way the second time or hit me back? Right? That's rate of learning. But intelligence is how quickly are you going to move out of the way or learn to fight back? Because often we'll just continue taking hits. I took tons of hits. I left that arrow there for a real long time because I was unwilling to learn. Learn. Give yourself the opportunity to feel the shame, maybe be embarrassed a little bit, but take that big step, break the arrow, and move forward. Because here's one thing I noticed, and this happened to me just a few months ago. I had this race called Kodiak 100. It's one I wanted from the beginning. It was one that I looked at. I knew all the professionals. It's UTMB. It's one of the pinnacle of races. It was a major for the year, and I wanted to win it. And I had been thinking about it through every single one of those races you saw. I said, I want the Kodiak 100. If you looked at my goal sheet from last year, I said Kodiak 100 above all else. Okay, I get on the race, I start it, and this is what happened.
Could I turn the audio up on this one?
I don't know how.
No, we haven't set that up. There's no way to do it.
That's okay. So right here is me not being able to breathe in a chair. My chest wouldn't allow it to expand. I couldn't breathe. I looked at my dad and I was like, do something, and he couldn't. It was extremely difficult. I had only made it in about 30 miles. Mile 1, my heart rate goes up to 165. My chest doesn't expand. I'm sitting there. I have to push through for another 30 miles. It stayed at 165 for over 6 hours. And this part of the video made me cry. Because strength, running had always been a place of capability for me. It had been my strength. It had been a place that I found a lot of confidence in myself. And this race was the pinnacle of that for me. It was bringing it together. And just watching this entire video, and you can see it on YouTube or you can learn it, but there was so many training, so many hours, so much thought process. And all of a sudden to have it not work out. This is me years before. We had filmed the entire thing. And it still hurts my heart. But one of the things that I learned that if you're watching here is strength doesn't come from the breakdown, it comes from the rebuild. It was never about the race. It was never about the result. It was never about getting over that finish line. It comes from the rebuild. I would not trade that moment for anything. Over the last 4 months, I've had more opportunity to connect, the people I've been able to talk to. It's completely transformed my life, my business, and the depth that I've been able to have. I can connect with people on a level I've never been able to before. When you really learn your lesson, guys, and you take the opportunity to develop from it, and you take the time to slow down, there is so much beauty in the hardship, in the pain, because that's where the growth happens. It's not about getting to the mountaintop, it's who you bring in with you. And because of that, I've been able to connect with people in a way that I've never been able to. And I promise you, for you guys as well, when we fail, it's not about how you fall, it's how well you get up and how well you continue to develop and to learn and to grow. And if there's one thing you guys could take away from this, is that all of this is just a story that I get to call life. And all of these pieces of it are what helping me connect with you today and will help you connect with each other. Whether it's the highs, whether it's the lows, and everything in between, it's the fact that we are here together and that we get to learn and grow and develop. And one thing is, it's not about being like everybody else. It's not about being the best, because the best still competes. The best still tries to prove. The best is still allowing somebody else to set the standard because they're beating other people. Be the only. Allow your own uniqueness to develop. Allow you to create your story. Allow yourself to develop you into the person you want to, that you're proud of. My goal here isn't to tell you to come be Brock Painter or Parker or anybody else in this room. It's to tell you to be the best version of you and create that story, whatever it is. Because there is standards, and I think you'll see these in your life. Okay, there's people in this room that are holding a poor standard right now. No, not in this room, right? Green X. But they hold a poor standard. There's no clear plan. They complain all the time, and they don't have any direction, right? It's just spinning for the sake of spinning. What you'll notice about a poor standard is poor standards get nothing. They just sit there and run on a hamster wheel until they fall off, right? I did it on a treadmill, right? You just run forever in the same place. and you don't get anything. Okay, but then you have a good standard, okay? Good standards are people that show up and check all the boxes. They do everything you ask them to, right? That was me on the doors. Like my managers come in and they're just like, work harder, knock more doors. And I'm like, I'm knocking every door. What more could I do? And that's what you'll notice a good standard will say. They're like, I'm doing everything you told me to. What do you want from me? And what you'll notice is good standards gets poor results. Poor standards gets no results, okay? Then you have an excellent standard. Now, these are the people that go above and beyond. Like, these are your CEOs. These are your people, your executives, your leaders. They believe that doing more is always the answer. And so what excellent does is they go above and beyond. They do everything. But the thing is they're the type of people that you'll often hear them say, like, what more could I be doing? I'm doing everything, right? I literally am going above and beyond. I'm better than everybody. This is your best. Okay? And there's a big problem is because you stress yourself out. You stress your family out. You're constantly feeling like you're spread thin. And you're constantly just feeling like you have to do more. And really what you're trying to do on a deeper level is you're trying to outwork your own disbelief with hard work. It's a coping mechanism. It's not very helpful. And guys, what are you noticing about all three of these? There's a common thread. And I'll just give it to you. Somebody else is setting your standard. Because if you're going above and beyond, what are you going above? Somebody else. If you're doing what they check your box, who's telling you to check the box? Somebody is. Even if you've made it up yourself. Right? Poor. You're doing less than everybody else, but you're at least there. Somebody else is setting the standard in your life, and you're jumping barely over the stick. What I believe is being the outstanding. You're the only. You build a category of your own. You stop trying to beat everybody else, and you just say, this is me. That's where you find the beauty in your story. That's where you start to develop yourself and the uniqueness that you get to bring to the table. You stop trying to prove and tell and show everybody how great you are. You just are great because that's who you are. That greatness and love is innate inside of you, and then you attract what's yours. You don't have to go out and chase. It just simply comes. When you walk up to a door, people know who you are. And not because you have to tell them, but because simply you're received in a way that you are the guy who's going to solve their problem. You've developed yourself into the person who has value. And money follows value. Does that make sense? What I like to call these is there's TNT. Takes no talent. A lot of times we focus on what does take talent. How fast, how much effort, right? If I tell you to run a marathon, you're going to focus on time and effort. That's the quickest way to notice a beginner runner. Is that all they focus on is effort and how far they went. Any good runner understands that when you're truly just out there, a lot of it's in zone 2. It's slow running miles with peaks. But that's because they're confident in themselves. They have nothing to prove. They just can go out and train. You guys have this in you. You are the only. You have a uniqueness. You have an ability to help and change this world and create a ripple effect that no one else can. And what I ask you today is to go out and amplify that. Bring it to your teams. Bring it to the people you love. Let it come back so it can create a ripple effect that changes the world. Now, I want you guys to pull out your phones and answer this. What decision are you avoiding making that you know would make the difference in your life? Now, as you're contemplating this, I know it, I can feel it in the room. There's a transformation taking place. Guys, as we become the only, we have something to offer. You cannot give what you do not have. And often we try to be able to give love when we don't know how to love ourselves. Often we try to give to people with charity, and we try to be good people and we're nice, but it ends up causing resentment because we haven't learned how to give it to ourselves. We try to give health and fitness advice when we don't even understand it on our own. We are filled with so much knowledge and information. But Stephen Covey said it best, to know and to not do is to not know. Now you know. Go out and make a difference. Go out and do something with it. Because one thing that I learned through this whole journey is that I fight for me, and because I fight for me, I make a difference. Go out and fight for yourself, and go out and make a difference with what you have. And I promise you, as you do that, you'll be able to bring value to everyone around you because you'll be able to attract and give what they can't give themselves. One of the reasons I run these races is because I know that there are people out there that will have an opportunity where they can't give to themselves, and because I've been to the depths of myself, I know I'll be able to give to them when they can't be there for themselves. Whether that's my wife, my son, you guys, my partner, everyone around me. But I cannot give what I do not have, and if I'm unwilling to go there, then I won't be able to have it when I need it. And I don't get to choose that opportunity. It will just come. And so I got to be prepared every single day to show up and fight for me because that's how I make a difference. And as you fight for you, that's how you make a difference. So go out and be the difference, okay? That's all I got for you today.